And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Songs of Six. We got some basic law and order going in the last one. And we got basic equipment for our troops. So let's go ahead, before I let too much time pass here, we'll let the game sort of run while we're doing this. So we're going to edit our existing division here, and we're going to tell them, you know, this nice new equipment we've got made, you're allowed to actually pick some of it up. So right now, if we told them to go equip as such, they'd go pick up all their equipment, which is... Oh, we've got a event going on. An eclipse has arrived, plunging 6 into total darkness for a while. The population is wondering if the final darkness, the Sumeron that spoke of, your subjects fervently try to pray the problem away, or failing that, drink themselves into a stupor. Morning's up, thirst is up, Piety Shrine is up, Piety Temple is up, okay. They're gonna go use those, equipment or sites and such or more for a bit. I think that's temporary. That'll go away in a bit. What I think we're going to do is I'm going to designate them to over-equip, and then they'll equip as they are produced. But yeah, they get to full equipment, and they're not fully trained either. They're going to need more equipment than we have, but that should be fine. Yeah, the eclipse is temporary. Can see the food stockpile is slowly going up. One of the other things, in fact, actually, let's go look at the things we can do to make our guys happy. We could try to grow them natively in the city. We can get a noble of their race going. There's the end of the eclipse. So apparently we're getting a temporary loyalty buff instead. Now the eclipse has passed. And that is temporary. Although that lasts 6 days, so that lasts a bit longer. We're not going to really play around that. In access here, this is where I was talking about food preference. Whoops. This food preference is, are they eating the food they want? Or are they eating whatever food is available? Oh, actually, I was talking about the food days. So food days, you get a bonus that caps out at 20 food days. We got 12 right now, 12 in a bit, so it's at 12 in a bit. A food preference is, our guys specifically like vegetables, fish, and eggs. So whenever they go to eat, they will basically take a die roll. And they roll that die, and so in this case it'll be basically 30, 30, 30, eggs, fish, and vegetables. If they roll an item we have, so say they roll fish, they'll go and eat fish. If they don't roll the item we have, say they roll eggs, we don't have any eggs right now, they'll go eat whatever's available, but if they eat what they wanted, they get food preference bonus. So right now, most of the time, we always have fish, because that's the big thing we got in stockpile. Our guys want fish 33% of the time. And they're not quite getting vegetables when they want it, because we do have some vegetables coming in. So they're not getting perfect food preference there. Because we don't have any eggs and we don't have enough vegetables. So we can improve on that. We can increase the serving size as well. We can add drink. We can tell them they can have more clothing, which is maybe a little tempting. We're overproducing clothing at the moment. Although that's maybe not something I want to expand either. What I think we will do is use clothing and maybe a little bit of furniture to set up trade. They would like jewelry. We wanted to provide them jewelry. Most of them are happy that they're housed. That's good to see. And then from a furniture standpoint, we could start to make furniture in their houses. Our lizardmen are a little bit weird, and they like having fish as furniture. So we could, for example, expand fishing enough that we could then supply them fish to use as furniture, or furniture production, so they can have furniture of that form, or wood, or whatever. Again, I think we're going to hold off on doing that. That can be quite labor-intensive, especially early on. There's services. I think we've got all the easy services we can establish right now going. So one thing we would be on the lookout for is, do we have adequate coverage? Right, so some of our guys don't have adequate coverage to the speaker, so that's why the speaker is as low as it is. Got pretty decent coverage to the hearth. Stage is another one where we've got a little bit of a coverage upgrade, or coverage problem. So that can be improved with more coverage. Although that one, both the speaker and the stage, I think, have 2 upgrades. So we've only got the level 1 version of it, so they're only going to go up to like 33% anyway. The current coverage, or current levelage. We've only got 1 market, and we only got one laboratory. Those are going to cost furniture, which is why we haven't built them yet. They are happy about the lack of hospitals, or rather, they're happy that they don't need a hospital. They would be unhappy if they wanted a hospital and could not get it. Road preference. I think our guys have a road preference. We can check it on the roads in a bit. They like roads over nothing, the dirt roads over nothing. And then they have a specific preference for what type of advanced road. Our guys like pools. We haven't yet been able to provide any pools. They would like some lighting, so I could go around and develop some lighting, which would be torches. We've got some torches, so I could put out more torches, effectively. The upgraded ones I like even a little bit better. They do appreciate that we have an army. In fact, they'd appreciate if the army was larger and or successful in battle. They'd also like if we had some eggs in storage. They're really happy about the fish in storage, but they're not happy about the lack of eggs in storage. Religion. The shrine can be upgraded, but and also not everyone has access to that shrine. That shrine doesn't cover the entire. Well, it covers the main village. It doesn't cover the expanse. We don't have any temple. Our people are weird in that they don't really care about graveyards or crypts. They do care about not being buried, so we have to provide them some place to be buried, but they don't really care about where. Occupation. Fulfillment is working in a job that they like. Our guys like fishing, so we actually have a surprisingly happy town from giving them lots of fishing to do. And then we can set a higher or lower retirement age. We're not quite ready for that yet. They'd like us if we had more money in the treasury. Law is going up, because it's sort of the tradition of people being appropriately deterred by law enforcement, right? So we now have a history of law enforcement, so as that history becomes more and more reliable, the law should go up. And again, they'd like to see some imprisonment and some judgment. Right now, everyone is getting stocks. Because we don't have a dungeon for them to go to, and we don't have a law, or we don't have a law enforcement location to go to. I think the big one that I saw that stuck out there that would be pretty easy to fix is I could go distribute some more torches around town while we're waiting for food stockpiles to pile up. Yeah, that's probably the easiest one. The other one is I could probably build some shrines. I could build some shrines in the expanding areas. How much do the shrines cost? They're just made out of wood. Do come in multiple sizes. We got a fairly small one actually in the main area. So we don't necessarily need a very big one right now. We just put one there. And then we'll put like one over here. So that'll help with the shrine coverage, and the other one is decorations. Want some light coverage. And in a moment, we'll take a look at the roads so you can see what the road preferences, how they line up or differ. Because the road tool actually shows that. Illuminate their neighborhoods a little bit more. Same over here. I'm going to work too hard on the outer areas. Okay. So, see those torches get built over time, and then road-wise, we're currently building dirt roads. Which you can see provides a 5% speed buff. It's also not particularly durable, so it actually is pretty labor-intensive to maintain. Not necessarily resource-intensive, but labor-intensive. And it does provide some fulfillment to roads for everyone. In particular for the sort of the dark elves of the setting. Provides a lot. And the Kryptonians, which are the pigment. It's also pretty decent for our guys. Our guys is 25%. There's a whole selection of here. We got Fungus Roads, Fungus Highway, Dark Plaza, Sacred Path, Crystal Waters, which our guys particularly like. I think that's the thing they like 100%. Cobblestone, Forest Plaza, Paved Road, Highway, and Bricked Road. So our guys would, as a stayover, would probably appreciate Bricked Road. It also has a higher durability and higher speed. And the thing they'd really like, if we could give it to them, would be Crystal Waters, which isn't very durable at all, provides no speed modifier, but they'd like it. It looks good for them. Yeah, so probably from an industrial standpoint, at some point it may make sense to do a brick road everywhere. This would cost stone, so we'd probably have to be throwing more productivity into the stone mine to maintain that stockpile of stone. But we could go ahead and brick up the roads, and that'd make our guys a little bit happier than just the good old dirt roads. It would probably require a little bit less janitor maintenance to keep the road functional, but we're not going to do that right now. It is something we could do, but it's not what we're going to do right now. I think the torches just cost wood. Actually, wood and a little bit of stone. Okay. A little low on wood, so I'm going to do some tree clearing of the local area to get some lumber coming. And that's something you can basically only do with wood and stone. The wood version is renewable because the trees do grow back. The stone version is not. And that's why, for upkeep purposes, I've designated enough stone production to, in theory, offset that. Although I need a little bit more because we've got enough for carpenters, not enough for maintenance. We need another 2. Let's actually do another 4 for the expanded stone consumption. Right now, I think there's about 7 raiders sitting outside the town. So if we thought our guys were hard enough, we could probably go deal with the raiders and nip that problem in the bud. We don't quite have enough equipment for them. I think I'd rather get the trading set up first. So let's see. Do we have enough to establish a trade relationship with these guys? What do you offer us? Trade. So they value that at about 13k. So I'm going to supply some resources to offset that. So the leather is or military equipment is reasonably expensive, so we'll actually throw military equipment at them for the moment. See if we can balance the budget. Just balance the balance of trade there pretty easily. Or, actually, no, can I do it just with the leather? Or, leather clothes. 75. No. Although we may be a little bit closer with it. Okay. That'll work. So, we get a trading alliance going. You, in fact, should become trading partners, which allow you to automatically trade with them. They get 75 clothing, 1 leather armor, 35 shields, and 22 pointy spears. I would have to raise opinion with them to get an alliance. This would allow us to sort of trespass through them without them complaining too much. And then unite with us is going to be, as you can see, 52 million. Quite expensive. Yes, we now have a trade relationship with them. So now, let some time pass. We just agreed to sell a bunch of stuff, so let's actually wait for it to go. There it goes. And then there is, now that we've got a trade relationship set up, I'm going to put a export depot up. Plan of this being a place where we can, well, we can set this to basically automate automatic trade, if my understanding of it is correct. And what we'll designate is basically if the military equipment, clothing, that sort of stuff piles up too much, that the excess be exported. That way we get some money coming to the treasury to keep our money-liking population happy. Okay, export depot. Obviously we have one person assigned here. Gotta tell it what we're exporting here. So from this specific location, we're gonna have you export shields. When export depot has a priority fetch enabled, it will fetch from storage slates that does not have priority fetch enabled. How does that designate the balance here? Okay, we're going to set you to priority fetch when 80% of the warehouse is full. Everything above 80%, go fetch it, put it in the export depot for export of shields. And we're basically going to go ahead and copy and paste that twice in 2 different other places. So over here, which will be our pointy sticks. Over here for the Leather armor. Pasture hasn't been doing the best of jobs of maintaining our animal population. I may have to import some animals to get the Lumpton going. Okay, so same sort of logic here. It's automatically, because I did copy and paste, it's defaulting the previous thing we had the previous one set to. So I'll have to change what it's shipping. This one's the leather one. I may actually set another one up here as well for clothing. Let's see about that. The other thing to do with clothing is maybe just let the people wear it. You know, they can wear more than one, have more than one change of clothing at a time. Have they actually picked up their equipment? That's a question. They may have. Yeah, they're not fully trained yet, of course. We train them, specified getting them trained up to a really high level. So it's going to take a while for them to get up there. 110 days. Another resource to eventually get going would be clay or cotton. Cotton if we want to do our own fabric. Clay if we want to do our own pottery. We could, in theory, also use clay. Where's the building I'm thinking of? Laboratory. Give them some clay tablets. That would double their productivity. Although we're not currently using our innovation points. Which is something I should probably remedy at some point. Yeah, there's a couple different things we could do. Apparently have enough people I could get a fighting pit and let them fight each other. That sounds like a very good way to get injury. We don't currently need the happiness for that. From that. Probably want to spend 30 over 50 or so on the library. And then we got things like globidine for eggs. No, I could get the hunter upgrade. The hunter upgrade actually in theory right now would be quite productive. Locking this would result in effectively 10 more workers worth of result for what, one innovation. So one person working on it effectively would produce 10 times the reward. The fisherman would be even worth more, even though the fisherman effect is weaker because it is applying to more fishermen. Basic craftsmen, carpenters, potteries, ration makers, and tailors. Okay. And we have fine craft. We want to do like masonry and stuff. mining. I don't have enough. Don't have enough miners yet, I think. Yeah, we need 30 miners before we can get improved mining sites. So that's definitely a fair enough situation. Where's lumberjacking? There's lumberjacking. Need 50 for that that upgrade. Although it's already at the point where it would be net positive to apply. First level at least. Yep, taking a quick look here to decide what I want to spend some of this influence on. Again, I think the library probably wants to be 30 of it. Although we'll need paper for that. I think that requires paper to be working. And that would allow us to do more knowledge, allow us to do more law enforcement stuff, like the proper dungeon. If you're thinking about jail and prison, right? I suppose prison is prison, right? So we've got jail, we don't got prison for our convicts. You need a prison for justice, which is the courthouse. What do I need for paper making? Do I have the refining one for it already? Crafting, paper maker. No, we have to research that. Where's tech paper maker? Where's the paper maker tech? Paper maker. Okay, so that costs 5. So we probably want like 35 to spend. 5 on paper maker, 30 on the library. Because I assume the library is going to want paper to work. Could be very wrong on that, though. Well, that also costs cloth. So if we're going to go library, I should probably get some cloth industry going. Libraries need to be manned indefinitely to combat the degradation of the books. Requires tech library. Doesn't actually imply that it consumes paper as a upkeep, but it presumably doesn't consume paper as an upkeep in the initial base. I think we're going to need to get more people in here, so I can do more fishing. We're going to feed more people, obviously, and then we'll need to build up the paper maker. We're going to expand the neighborhood over here. Go for another 60. How's the soil around here? Overlay, soil. So you're alluvium, you're alluvium. You're actually rich soil. Okay, so this is prime farmland over here. This is till. Okay, so we probably want to expand left and up into the till, and not up into the right. I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to leave space for woodcutters in the future, or if I want to go a particular direction, which is why I came up here into soil. I didn't know what sort of soil type this was, and this is alluvium, so that's trees. That's log camping. Where here is prime farmland. So maybe I might actually want to preserve that for either vegetable farming or cotton farming. During our expansion here. Oh, paper maker also costs metal in upkeep. Interesting. Okay, let's turn the overlays off. Get our neighborhood expansion. Okay. And we'll go ahead and also add a little bit of road in. and switch it through the forest here. Down to the crossing. We are going to probably want some entertainment speaker over here. Didn't build a speaker over here yet. As we build the district, we'll be wanting a greater variety, effectively, of amenities. At some point, we'll probably want a bathroom over here, but kick that can down the road a little bit. Oh, apparently you're supposed to only have 321 people. It designated 321 people. Presumably, I think the prisoners don't count as people as far as free people, right? So one of the people who finished their punishment are now unhoused. But yeah, the next 60 people here will provide us a little bit more labor, so we can get more fishing going, and be contemplating trying to get some other industries going. What I could do is I could harvest the cotton and get cotton fields going. We are making some money. Do some money from trade. It's probably made people much happier. And we're up to 6% from riches. Our people would like to be richer. Fair enough. I'm like, I'm happy 14k, and they're like, no, you need more money. You can see, this is a nice thing about this. This shows you the trend line of happiness over time, and from what areas. So this one's going up because we're getting law going up over time, mostly. Religion's going up because we put out a couple more shrines, so there's better shrine coverage. The quality is not super high, but the shrine coverage is decent. We improved lighting, although maybe not as much as I could have. We're expanding the city, so the coverage is actually going to get worse on the lighting. Laboratories are going down, so more and more people live farther away from the toilet. We should fix that in a bit. I'll probably build a toilet over here, and probably build a toilet over here. That'll calm them down a bit. Of course, I'm saying calm them down. None of them are any expectation versus need rate. What's the expectation here right now? Yeah, the expectation is 1.9% fulfillment of their desires. They currently have a 3.2% fulfillment of the desire, so we're over meeting their requirements. I'm growing slowly and steadily because I can. And apparently, like, no, you could let more people in. You gotta be a little careful letting people in, because one of the things that's keeping them happy right now is days of food. So if you bring in more mouths without more ways to feed those mouths, they get grumpy. That's one thing you can run into if you expand too quickly. Twitch chat saying, very relatable wanting to be richer. Yeah, yeah. What, if you divide, it was like 14k at the time, if you divide like 17k by 320 people, what, that's like 5 denarii each? 50 denarii each. See if I can, yeah, 50 denarii each. They'd like the collective city treasury to be more than $50 each, basically. We also only have 8 builders right now, so they're a little slow because we don't have a lot of people for building purposes. Okay, I think they're still working on the last house here. It's the only one to go. Oh no, they got that one in the car. Okay, so four of the 6 houses here are done. That one and that one to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to increase housing up to 380. We're going to allow auto expand. I want to head on slow speed. So the auto expand has already let the 60 people in, so we're up to 380 people. So in theory, we've got people for all the housing. And I need to go ahead and sign some new jobs. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to get new bathrooms. So we're going to do a... How many bathroom workers? We have 1 bathroom worker going there. I'm going to go ahead and do a copy and paste of this bathroom. Over there. We'll put like one over here. And then our existing one here, I think... Oh no, probably only needs 1 generator. We probably set it up right. We've got 2 upgrades. 0 2 upgrades. So we could get pottery and increase the quality of the laboratory to a posh relief. Right, so the people in the place that are covered by the first one are quite happy. The other ones are not, built yet. We could check each of our amenities, see how the coverage looks. So you probably actually want a little bit more wellage over in there and over there, but I think we're good otherwise. And the fancy hearths are quite expensive because they're going to require metal. Oh, I suppose we do have a place where we can do some metal mining. That's why I was trying not to cover this bit up here. So we got a little bit of metal mine here, ore mine here. We want to do some ore mining. Yeah, so we can do a little bit of ore mining there, and we can smelt that into metal. Okay, so we now got some lavatories. Needless to say, all the people in the local area are like, we're glad that you gave us a laboratory, but there's not enough yet, because they haven't had a time to take their time to go use the bathroom. The bathroom's a little overloaded. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to expand fishing. We were about where we wanted to be with 20 days of food, and now we're back down to 17, so let's do a little bit more fishing. The other way to solve this would not be necessarily to get more fishing, but I could go for a greater variety, do like globadine or something. But we're going to do fishing for the moment. Partially because I think globadine is going to take a while to set up, and the vegetables... Our guys are not very good at vegetable farming. As far west as we can go? No. Or far east as we can go? No, that's as far east as we can go. Okay. And then we're going to need some storage, so I should expand this enough to get good storage site on land. Doesn't need to be that big. And then some auxiliaries here and there. There. I'll increase fish production a little bit. And there we go, another 10 fisherman jobs, which provides 1.9 fish per worker for about 19 fish per day. And yeah, as we grow the number of people working in the fishing industry, the average experience of the fishing industry improves, giving us even more fish. At some point, we may want to splurge for the upgrade. I suppose that would be one reason to go for fabric, so we could pay the upkeep cost in furniture and fabric for the advanced fisheries. Right now it's just wood, and wood's pretty cheap. I think I'll do is our training facility here can support up to 20 fairly easily. We're going to double the size of the military. Go from 10 spearmen to 20 spearmen. Tech-wise, if I'm gonna go cloth, might want to do... Oh no, I start with pumps. That's what I need if I want to do pools based off the pumps. Water, yeah, we got water pumps and canals. So in here, there is a moisture modifier. You guys might actually be getting ideal moisture for the wood production here, because we're close enough to the coastline. We could get the text for totals, but we're not going to bother with that. Oh yeah, we got 100% of the moisture. So you've got 100% there, so we don't need a canal for you. You've got 100%, so we don't need a canal for you. It's probably the same over here, because we're just building so close to the water. Fair enough. Yeah, I was trying to think about if do I want to get pumps going for our existing stuff. You're just bad because we didn't necessarily build you on the best of land. We didn't build you on the worst of land either, but I think technically you're on till, right? What we put there. Yeah, you're on till. So you're not on the best of land, but you're not on the worst of land. Extreme temperature. Well, good thing our guys like warm temperatures. Means there'll be a little bit more well use today, which is not a problem. Yeah, I'm thinking I may want to get some cotton farming going. So let's add cotton to the stockpile here. Cotton farm is going to be quite labor intensive. And then we will designate a forage for the cotton down here. And over here, to get us our starter cotton. We have that furniture? We have enough furniture for that. Okay. Designate you as a pump. That'll be pumping our irrigation. It's probably bigger than we're going to need initially, but that was kind of the plan. And then is going to be a cotton plantation. Do it 7 wide by, let's say, 20. So 140 squares. Same on the other side. Means it'll overlap a little bit with the alluvial soil, but that'll probably be fine. Oops, I can do one at a time. So, plop down the field, then we can shift click and place. And then we gotta have some cotton, which is why I designated the cotton harvest, cotton forage. Is coming up on first day of spring, so it's gonna be a while before we have the harvest, right? The harvest is late summer. So the fields should be ready for the cotton to go into the cotton fields when we have cotton to put in the fields. Okay, so we're going to turn down the number of pumpers, because I don't think we need that many. And we are going to put a small canal going. So that's basically the pump comes with one tile of canal, and we're going to stretch it to do that for the moment. We probably don't need that. We probably have enough moisture that it's this close to the water. Yeah, probably don't need it necessarily here because we've got enough moisture. This is a fairly wet, tropical area, so we probably could have gotten away with not irrigating that way, but it's good enough for the moment. For future-proofing. Which is the other reason we don't necessarily need that many people working the pump. Because it's going to be running water up a canal that doesn't really need any water in it yet. Oh, I might actually need a few more people. Put a few more people in. Okay, now I'm producing too much, but fine. And then you can upgrade the pump to require fewer people. Of course, that requires that metal that we haven't yet started making. So we've got 10 people trained, 10 people training. Of course, the people who are trained are probably presumably maintaining their training by still continuing to go to work based on how much labor we put in them. But Oh, sorry, Twitch chat, for not checking up anything. Do the houses need more stuff as the people get richer? No. Actually, the other way, sort of the other way around. One of the ways you can improve fulfillment for your pops is you can give them access to furniture. So our little lizardmen here want stone for furniture, cut stone for furniture, fish, because they're weird like that, leather, wood, and furniture. Presumably they make stuff out of the furniture, out of the wood. They're not just taking random wood. So to achieve sort of maximum furniture appeasement in the houses, I'd have to provide 732 stone, 1,830 cut stone, 732 fish, 1,464 leather, 1,098 wood, and 732 furniture initially. And then I think for every one item they wanted, they need to replace, or for every 4 items they wanted, they need to replace one of it a year. So that's quite a bit of upkeep to maintain maximum furniture rating, but furniture is also quite valuable from a fulfillment standpoint. And then if you do give them furniture, you'll see in their houses the furniture. But yeah, no, the houses don't necessarily need more stuff, but if you want to keep a bigger city happy, the civilians will want more stuff. And that does vary depending upon the pop type. Humans want a different set of goods. They want more wood, more furniture. They want some jewelry, pottery, and cloth instead of, say, the fish and the hides. And again, it's different depending upon which faction. The Kryptonians, for example, want gems, not jewelry. Jewelry is technically made out of gems. Sort of thing. Not producing enough leather. No, that math is working. Oh, well, there's some variance in it, right? The hunters don't have 100% consistency. They can swing up or down by 40%. May have had just a couple bad days back to back and wasn't paying attention. Yeah, right now these farms are waiting for cotton. Cotton gets harvested late summer. We're in the middle of the summer right now. So gonna wait for a couple days to pass for them to go harvest the cotton. Was that the cotton field? That was the main naturally occurring cotton here. So we'll get more than enough cotton in the first wave here. We'll get the fields planted, and then we'll probably start turning that into cloth. Or be thinking about turning it into cloth. We might just be harvesting cotton for the moment, or growing cotton for the moment. Not immediately jump to refinement. Yeah, well, actually, no, the refinement wouldn't be too bad. Weaving is stone and wood. The thing I'm concerned about is we don't have any metal production right now. And I suppose I could import metal, but at least one thing I might recommend if you're new to the game is try to run your industry. We just get a big wave of cotton come in. I need to get transported to stockpile, so let's actually put a couple guys more on the stockpile for transport purposes here. Is try to be able to handle your own maintenance. So there doesn't necessarily need to be a lot of production, but it's nice to have some production. So that you can support your own maintenance on things. Which may seem counterintuitive to the other thing I'd probably say, which is try to be very, very overly focused on something. So we're focusing on fish here. Technically, our people like fish, eggs, and vegetables, so there's an argument to do all 3 of those and not just purely focus on the fish. That was the other thing I was maybe thinking of doing over here, is doing some vegetable farming. Okay, so we're now going to have about 2 farmers in each of these fields, planting and harvesting cotton every year. Let's set up a workshop for weaving. Do one really big loom. Employ 12 people. Make it one wider. Let's make it one wider. Both directions. And then we need a support pillar in the middle to keep the building stable. We need a stockpile. Doesn't need to be big. Oh, I can make it decently big. Now we'll do the auxiliary looms shape. Can I squeeze enough in here to get the building perfectly efficient? Yeah. I'm gonna have to make the building a little bit bigger. It's easy enough to do. Oops, not looms, auxiliary looms. Different things. There we go. That makes it pretty nice and symmetrical. Give it like 3 doors. Like so. And then over here at the stockpile, we'll give you a cloth stockpile order. Have a couple of... Where does the stone stockpile go? A couple of crates of cloth there as well. Yeah. Yeah, this is again going to be another building where we probably turn it down as soon as it builds, because we probably don't need it running at full efficiency. We've overbuilt it for future expansion. But for the moment, I don't think we're actually necessarily making that much cotton, right? The yield... Well, we didn't have it work for an entire year last year. The yield was like 1 year of cotton for the entire growing season, because the production was 0 days. The environmental harvest is, I think, at the same time as the planting, or is the harvest in the fields. So we sort of harvested, planted, and didn't have very much of a growth time. Okay, so we got a climate bonus and a soil bonus, but we have a species malus. We're still farming 32% better as far as cotton's concerned, because of the climate and the other stuff. Could use with some more stone. I'm not gonna, because this isn't an upkeep problem, this is an initial build. Let's just go ahead and harvest that from the environment using clear rock. Okay, getting close to it being done. There we go. I know. That's too aggressive there with button clicking. There we go. And yeah, we don't want 24 people work there. This consumes... What was it? 2 each per worker per day. Harvest season's like 16 days, or year's like 16 days, right? So let's... So I probably have like 10 workers here with their phones. So let's crank it down to 10. That way we can get a pretty hefty initial spend there. And then we'll have to reevaluate it a year from now. I think we're... Oh no, the estimation is that we should become positive. Okay. I wasn't expecting this necessarily have a correct estimation on the cotton yield for the next year. But appears to be that should be a stable in and out. So now we've got cotton, or now we've got fabric coming in. We can start doing stuff with fabric. But we'll go ahead and leave that for the next part. I think we're once again at a good place to put a part break in. So in this part, I think we went ahead and we got some cotton farming going. We got some improvement in our quality of life for our 2 expanded housing districts by giving them toilets and did we give them shrines during this one? Not sure if we gave them the shrines during this one. Might have. But yeah, I think we're in good steading for continuing our expansion into things that now need fabric. Notably for us, that includes... If I can find the location. Procreation. The building where we raise our young requires cloth for both construction and maintenance. So if we wanted to, we could start beginning the process of raising local young instead of having everyone migrate into the city. I'm not going to do that quite right away, because that's one way where you can sort of get into a feedback loop where you have to keep expanding the city to house the people that are growing in the city, sort of thing. But that is something we could get into in future parts. We got some limited fishing going, or limited farming going on there, and we might want to expand that in the future. Thinking about what else we might be thinking about in the future. I suppose we could swap the clothier, the tailor, over from hide to fabric for the clothes, but I think we're gonna hold off on that for the moment. Well, I suppose we get herb farming going, and then we could turn fish into rations. We could also get our own metal going. I'd have to get probably the charcoaler going to turn wood into coal. And then we have an ore mine, so we could definitely mine ore and smelt it into metal bars. Our people don't necessarily like working the forges, but they don't hate it. Right, so we could get the ore mine going and get the metal smelter going and the charcoal maker going. That wouldn't be a bad thing to do with more expansion. We'd have to expand more to do that, obviously. We need more people in the town to do more fishing. And we got a big amount of space over here that we can expand fishing into. And then when we run out of fishing on this area, we've got all this area over here to fish. So we got plenty of expansion for the fisheries. What we may do when we run out of space to expand the fisheries is instead improve the fisheries. There's another thing we could be doing with the fabric, right? We could be setting up our fisheries to run off of furniture and fabric. I think that adds up another +1 productivity. I think that's an added +1. So that'd be before our multiplier, so our 25% and our 0.09 multiplicative experience. So yeah, that would be pretty strong buff to fish yields. Yeah, that's where we are in the run. If you're watching on YouTube, there will be another part up tomorrow. We are going to continue recording tonight. We're going to record 2 more parts, but this is going to be where we put the midstream tea break in. So I hope everyone has been enjoying the run as it plays out. So until next time, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.